Hey guys, my name is JC and today we're playing Rionya Fire Dancer. The goal of this deck is to storm off with our instants and sorceries, land a powerful creature and then make a clone army of that creature to hopefully kill our opponents quickly. If this deck seems right up your alley, then make sure to stop by the channel where we have a deck tech discussing all of the included cards as well as the overall strategy. Let's play with fire and see who gets burned. Alright, it looks like we're going first. Let's see who we're doing the dance with today. We've got Lathril, Blade of the Elves, we have the Ur-Dragon, and we also have Arcum Dagsson. Okay, some pretty good decks there. Now looking at our opening hand, we've got 3 lands, always good start. Burgi for ritual effects, Solemn's a very good value creature, and with bonus round and Battle Hymn, that's going to give us a good amount of mana. This is actually a pretty strong hand, so I think we keep this. Alright, so we draw a Flame Jab for turn. So let's just play our mountain and pass the turn. Lathril plays a land for turn, and now they cast a Heritage Druid. You can tap 3 untap elves you control to add 3 green mana. And that is their turn done. Ur-Dragon plays a fetch land for turn, they immediately crack it. They put a land into play. And now they cast an Amoeboid Changeling. Alright, we've got the Ur-Dragon here that's probably a tribal deck. Well, anyone familiar with the channel knows that we've got our own tribal deck, so this is pretty awesome to see. And that is their turn done. I'm looking forward to seeing what tribal cards they've included in their version. Alright, Arcum Dagsson just plays a land, and that is it for them. Okay, we draw Heat Shimmer for turn. Well, that could come in handy later on, depending on what our opponents put out. So let's just play a land. I don't think I want to use our Flame Jab just yet to snap anything off. We'll just wait a little bit longer. We'll just pass the turn there. Lathril plays their land. They sack their Fabled Passage. It's going to put a basic land into play tapped, and they are going to leave it there. Ur-Dragon plays another fetch land for turn. They crack it. They put a land into play, and now they play a Taurian Mauler. Well, that's one of the best changelings in the deck if they do have a more aggro strategy with their version of tribal. And that's it for them. Arcum plays a land, and now they cast themselves a Mannequin. Just an artifact creature that they can sack with Arcum that triggers Taurian Mauler. It'll get a 1/1 counter, and that's it for them. We draw Devilish Valet for turn. Alright, we'll start by playing our mountain. Now we have a choice here. We can get down Devilish Valet just to set up for Rionya, but there's no guarantee, especially because we don't have another land in hand. We could also just Flame Jab the Mannequin to stop Arcum Dagsson, or at least reduce their chances of being able to sack a creature and tutor up something, because right now Arcum's probably the most dangerous just on the board with the way the board state is at the moment. We can also just get Burgi down and set up. I think that might be better just at the moment, because Arcum's probably not going to come down next turn and be able to sack the Mannequins, so I think it's better that we accelerate our game plan just a little bit. So let's get Burgi down on board. That triggers Taurian Mauler. And that'll be it for us. Lathril plays a land, and now they cast a Skemfar Avenger, which triggers Taurian Mauler. Whenever another non-token elf or berserker you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. And that's it for them. Ur-Dragon plays a tapped land, and notably it is the Wold Tree, so that'll be able to fix their mana once they get their land count high enough. Now they cast Valiant Changeling, a 3/3 with double strike. Now they move to combat, let's see where the Taurian Mauler goes. And it's coming towards us. We'll definitely take the damage. And that is it for them. Arcum plays a land for turn. And now they cast their commander, Arcum Dagsson, which does trigger Taurian Mauler. Tap, target artifact creature's controller sacrifices it. That player may search their library for a non-creature artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle. So it definitely doesn't take that deck too long to get out of control, especially just with a few tutor targets, and that is their turn done. We draw Underworld Breach for turn. Okay, well there's no guarantees here that Arcum Dagsson doesn't have another creature in hand which they can use with Arcum next turn, but I still think we have to try to make the effort to at least reduce their tutor targets down. So we'll start our turn by casting Flame Jab, targeting the Mannequin. That triggers Taurian Mauler and Burgi. So we'll get a red mana from Burgi there. And then we'll cast our Devilish Valet. That triggers Mauler and Burgi once again. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do anything with the Burgi mana, so we're just going to have to pass the turn there. Lathril starts their turn by casting Aquarian Ranger, which triggers Taurian Mauler. Return a forest you control to its owner's hand, untap target creature, you can only activate it once each turn. That does put Taurian Mauler up to being a 9/9. In response, the Ur-Dragon player taps their Amoeboid Changeling, targeting the Druid, so the target creature loses all creature types until end of turn. They're doing that to essentially shut off Heritage Druid's ability to be able to tap 3 untapped elves to add the 3 green mana. Now they activate Aquarian Ranger, targeting their Skemfar Avenger. They replay that land, so it did come into play untapped, giving them an extra mana, and now they cast Abomination of Llanowar, which triggers Taurian Mauler. A 2/2 with Vigilance and Menace. Abomination of Lanoir's power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. Now they tap down 3 elves. That adds 3 green mana to their mana pool. They just let the mana float away, and that is their turn done. Now Ur-Dragon starts by casting a Shapesharer. They also play a Gaia's Cradle, so it's going to be able to tap for 4 green mana at the moment. So the Tribal player is certainly starting to accelerate ahead here, and now they cast Morophon the Boundless. As it ETBs, they choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type you choose cost Wurborg less to cast. It only reduces the amount of coloured mana you have to pay, and other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. The type they've chosen is Dragon. Now they move straight to combat. Well, let's just hope that Taurian Mauler doesn't come our way again. We probably still won't block, but if we have to take another hit after that, we will have to start blocking. Our life total is going to start to get too low. Let's just hope that they're as afraid of the Arcum Dagsson player as we are, or at the very least the Lathril player who's starting to go off a little bit. They are taking their time to think here, but it looks like they've decided to hit us again, and the Valiant Changeling's going over at the Arcum Dagsson player. So I definitely think they're fearful of what we can do, or at least what we can potentially do. We will take the hit here, so that takes us down to 24, and that is their turn done. Alright, so let's keep fingers crossed here. Either Arcum Dagsson doesn't have another land, or they don't have an artifact creature in hand. Well, they do play the land for turn. And now they cast a Cathodian, so we didn't get lucky. When it dies, it adds 3 colourless mana. That does trigger Taurian Mauler. So they are going to be able to tutor. It'd be interesting to see if they do go... Usually the first target they go for is Darksteel Forge to give all their artifacts indestructible, but Arcum Dagsson is a toolbox commander, so you can really just tutor out whatever you need depending on what's happening on the board. But one thing we know for sure is we definitely have to start popping off soon because the other players are starting to get a little ahead of us, more than I'd like. I mean, really for us, a land drop next turn is going to go a long way because that'll allow us to do bonus round and battle him. They do activate Arcum straight away. Alright, let's see what they get. Now Cathodian dies, they add 3 colourless mana. Well, with their extra mana, they may actually go for an untap effect here, but they actually go for a Dreamstone Hedron, so they're just going for more ramp. So they still have access to 7 mana. Now they cast a Conduit of Ruin, which triggers Taurian Mauler. When you cast it, you can search your library for a colourless creature with mana value 7 or greater, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top, and the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Okay, so we might be seeing a Big Beats version of Arcum Dagsson. And they find themselves a Blightsteel Colossus. Well, that is not good news for the table, and we're probably in the worst position for it, because we're not going to be able to block it as well as the other players are at the moment. And that is their turn done. Okay, we draw a Rite of Flame for turn. That's actually really good with bonus round. We might be able to achieve quite a lot this turn, especially because the Arcum player only has 1 blue mana up. I mean, that 1 blue mana can potentially remove our commander, but we really can't risk waiting any longer. I have a feeling because we did Flame Jab the Arcum Dagsson player's creature, and we're the ones that aren't going to be able to block it too well, it's probably going to come our way. So you know what, let's go for it. So we'll start by casting bonus round for turn. That triggers Taurian Mauler and Burgi. Now we'll cast Rite of Flame. That's going to trigger Taurian Mauler and Burgi. And when we copy it, we'll add 4 red mana to our mana pool. Now we'll cast our Battle Hymn. That triggers Taurian Mauler once again, triggers Burgi. So now we've got 8 mana in our mana pool. Now we'll cast Rionya, triggering the Mauler and Burgi once again. Now that triggers our Devilish Valet. And now we'll use our Heat Shimmer targeting our Devilish Valet. That triggers Taurian Mauler and Burgi. Our Heat Shimmer will keep the same target. We'll make another Devilish Valet. You can never have enough of the Valets, because that's going to start to make our original quite big. So now it's currently an 8/3. Well, now we'll move to combat. Rionya will trigger. We'll target the original Devilish Valet. Let's just hope that none of the players have any removal for Devilish Valet. Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble. Now, fortunately, that does go through, and look at all those Devilish Valet triggers on the stack. So these are going to be some beefy boys by the time all is said and done. So our original is currently 128/3, and we still got all these triggers on the stack. And that ends up with the original being a 256, 64/3, 32/3, 16/3s to round it all up. All right, well, let's go finish our opponents. So we'll send the biggest one down at the tribal player. We'll send this one towards Lathril. We'll go the Ur-Dragon. Then we'll send these last few over at Arcum Dagsson. And let's see how we go. And that is the game done. We knock our opponents down to -56, -250, and -11. All right, well, let's go to the review, guys, and discuss what happened. So that was a pretty quick game, but if you've seen the Rionya deck tech, you know that's all part of the plan. This was a great example of how fast and more importantly explosive the deck can be, even when behind the rest of the table. Which was actually quite lucky, because had the game gone on for a few more turns, we would have been in trouble. Our missed land drops were certainly hurting us, the Ur-Dragon was starting to hit us with big damage with that Taurian Mauler, and the Arcum Dagsson player was about to land a Blightsteel Colossus. Fortunately, our bonus round really pulled its weight this game, allowing us to double up on our ritual effects and get a high Rionya count. And once we went to combat and made all those clones of Devilish Valet, that was more than enough damage to get the job done. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed seeing just how much damage this mono-red deck could deal in one turn, and for some of you, it may have been just the spark you needed to build it yourself. Until next time, guys.